Hello, my friends, and welcome back. I'm Chisgule Gaming, and in this Age of Empires mobile video, I'm going to give you the top 8 common mistakes that new players are making, and these can be catastrophic. Now, I brainstormed these with the professor, who spent the last 5 months playing the regional beta. I also dabbled in the beta, and I've got a huge group starting probably the day after this recording goes live, where we're playing in a server that's going to have $10,000 worth of prizes to the team that captures the Imperial City first. So yeah, you better believe I don't want my team making mistakes. So here we are releasing a video about the top 8 new player mistakes. And there will be other mistakes as well. Check the pinned comment in case we add others. And if you've got mistakes that people commonly make, because you're an expertise or an experienced player watching this video, leave those in the comments down below. But with me on the call is the professor. Hello and welcome. And you ready to get rolling with this?
Good afternoon. Oh, I absolutely am. We got a couple of really good ones here and can't wait to show you some.
Yeah, I think this list is full of bangers. So let's start with number 1. The first big mistake is that if you aren't going to buy the extra building slot with cash, don't go and spend Empire coins having this thing for 2 days at a time. It's absolutely not worth it, just in terms of the amount of Empire coins you're spending. If you spend a small amount of money, you could have this queue permanently, but also if you do unlock this for a short window of time, you can't queue anything up longer than the duration of this extra queue, which means if you've got 5 hours left and you want to queue up a 10-hour building, too bad. You can't do it. So wasting Empire coins on your extra building queue is definitely not worth, in my opinion. Maybe at the very start of the game, you could justify it, but like, Prof, do you think there's any times where this is worth or just completely pass?
The general average income for a free-to-play player weekly is about $9,000, and you're spending $2,000 to do this, or 2,000 coins to do this. It's a huge chunk of your money. You don't want to be doing this even at the beginning. At any point, it just isn't worth the cost of what it's doing.
Yeah, and when you say 2,000 coins, that would just be 4 days worth. Like if you had this going all week, it's like half your Empire coins. So long story short, not worth spending money for this queue. As you see the bundle on screen, good. And the currency here, don't mind this. I'm in a beta server where I think it's in French currency, whatever, doesn't matter. Up next, big mistake, number 2, is with heroes. And we got to talk about this. This is true in pretty much every city building war game. And trust me, I have spent over $150,000, probably closer to like $250,000 on city building war games at this point. I don't want to know what my actual fleet number is across all games.
I've almost caught up to him by now. He's just a little ahead of me on that one.
Oh yeah, I'm a little ahead of you? Okay. So
just a little.
It's always a mistake to split your investments. So Professor and I went in the last Age of Empires mobile video we did, and we talked all about 3 hero combos. And it's actually
Warrior Swordsman, Warrior Pikeman, and Warrior Archers.
Yeah, and I say 3 hero combos. It's technically 3 combinations of heroes, and each combination, you need 3 heroes. So we gave you all those combos to use. In that video, we were very brief, but on the professor's channel, he's got really detailed guidance. So I'll have a card up in the top for my video, and I'll remind you toward the end of this video to go check out professor's channel as well, where you can get like super detailed info on these combos. So
I'd appreciate it greatly.
Yeah, it is known what some good hero combos are. You can go for them, and you should do that. But investing a little bit here and powering up some of her skills, and then deciding to do somebody else and powering up his skills, and it's just a mess. Focus, 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 all right? This brings us to mistake number 3. And this is, look, these first 4 mistakes are like generally bad ideas in city building war games, but it's very simply making your city an attractive target for being hit. And for the most part, that would mean going into your items and just opening your resource tokens. If you're new to this genre because you played Age of Empires and you've never played, city building war games on a mobile device before that are very collection focused, don't open all your resource tokens. Anything above what your warehouse can protect can be plundered. And if they are plundered, that is bad. You just lose them. So don't open your resource tokens beyond what you need right now.
One thing even in advance of that is that when you go and try to build a building you don't have resources for, it'll automatically pull out the resources you need and nothing more. Everything else will be left in safe, so you don't even have to worry ever about pulling out resources. Just pretend they don't exist and pretend you have unlimited funds and go at it.
Yeah, I just did a quick use as an example, and like it used what I needed, nothing more, and I have literally less than 1,000 of each resource left over. So that's the way to go. Which brings us to number 4. You want to queue stuff up obviously, buildings, research, troop training, but you want to go to bed with your queues running long. So if you have, let's say, 2 hours worth of troop training left before you go to bed, speed it up and then queue up fresh troops, because all that time that would have happened while you were sleeping is basically like free training time. Same is true if you're going to work or have to be away from the game for a long period of time. Right now, in this particular account, my buildings are so low level that like I can't queue for that long. But I played in the global military exercise where we got to, I think, Citadel 25 is what I got my town center to, 25. And you can queue troops for closer to like 10 plus hours at a time. You want to get all your queues working for you around the clock. Buildings, research, and especially troop training.
Definitely on those. So on my account where I have level 26, troop training is 11 hours at tier 5. So you can have it go all night long while you're sleeping, or all day long while you're at work, and it's good to keep it going.
There you go. So, oh man, there's so much I want to upgrade on this little test account, but like, I'm starting my new account tomorrow, or I guess tomorrow from the time this goes live. Whatever. Let's get to the advanced mistakes. I was going to say tips and tricks. These are mistakes, okay? Mistake number 5, all right, is in an event, and it's called the wishing card. The wishing card is very straightforward. You log in every day, you flip a card. Okay, now you pick what you want your grand prize to be. The one and only current thing to pick is the legendary skill scrolls. Scrolls plural, because although on this screen it says legendary skill scroll, you actually get 20 legendary skill scrolls. And Professor and I were doing a little bit of napkin math right before this video. And like these you can get in a weekly bundle. These are unlocks for special skills, legendary skills. Okay. For like once a week, you can get a bundle and it's like $5 to get one of these. But these legendary skill scrolls, they are way more valuable. Like not even the same universe, right?
You can basically buy the scroll itself for about $5, or you can buy, the skill itself for $5, or you can buy the scroll, 2 of them, for $5. Do you want 1 skill or do you want 20 skill scrolls? It is way more valuable and way more valuable of a resource, because once you get the skill scrolls, those are Empire coins. You'll have a lot of those. Skill scrolls are going to be the most valuable.
Yeah, so it's like 10x value. It's really good. Okay, so that's a huge mistake. That was mistake number 5. Mistake number 6 is skipping the new player events. And there are a ton of them. So I just want to call out 1 or 2 in particular. And this one will show up on a new account somewhere that I don't have on this test server account. This is many, many, many months old. But if you make your way over to the expedition area at the bottom of your screen, there is an event called the Lost Borderland event. This is an extraction game mode where you basically battle and find chests and decide if you're going to exit with your loot or continue to plunder more stuff, but risk losing your loot. And this is an event where Professor and I were talking about this. I'm like, stop it. This isn't real. You can't actually just spend 2 hours and unlock a 5-star version of a hero. But Professor is insisting, and like we went to the game tape, and it looks like
definitely insisting.
You really can, for just a couple hours of effort in this event, get either Cleopatra or YSS, that's Yi Sun Shin, to 5 stars. So just Professor, I'm just confirming that is rank 5. That is like you can all the medals you need to rank 5.
Yep.
600 medals from unlock to max.
In about 2 hours. It really would depend on how much effort you put or how quickly you go. Yep, you can. But I'm going to put it the opposite here. If you decide not to rush it and go through this event really, really slowly and grab as much as you possibly can along the way, you can actually get about 200,000 skill points at its maximum, depending on how much effort you spend. This is a great way for free-to-play players or low spenders to catch up to people who spend more, because they can trade in the amount of time they're willing to do the event for extra skill points. It's very, very helpful, but you're paying for it with time.
This event's super lucrative. You've got to do it. Cleo is for the Tactician Swordsman or Tactician Cavalry lineup. YSS is for the Tactician Cavalry lineup. They're both
Tactician
also...
Archers, actually.
Sorry, Tactician Archers. You're right. YSS is Tactician Archers. I don't know why I got that mixed up. Anyways, they're both also available in the tavern. So if I go to recruit, you can see they're in the prize pool. So yeah, there's YSS, Tactician Archers, right next to Cleo. And they are slightly more common among the legendaries that drop from this prize pool. So whichever one you don't go for, you'll get eventually from here anyways. And I think it's really important at the start of the game to be getting a hero to 5 stars. In fact, one of the 3 best new player combos, maybe even 2 of the best 3-player combos we made the other day, included Cleo. So I'm going to go for Cleo. Between the two, Professor, do you think there's a stronger hero here, or they're both good?
Do you like archers, or do you like tactician swordsman? Both of them fill their niche really well, and they're actually crucial to play that niche. If you want the smart guys, yeah, archers and swordsmen, they're really, really great.
Okay, there you go. Either one good. Pick what you like. All right. Now, there are other game modes that ignore them at your peril. And I want to mention it as a part of this sort of 6th big mistake that new players are going to make. And these other events include things that are here all the time, like Island Tactics. So Island Tactics is basically a game mode that scales and scales and scales and scales and scales. The more levels you do, the harder and harder it gets. And there are hundreds and hundreds of levels. It's easy to push and then go some number of days or weeks without pushing further. And this will give you currency passively for a very important shop, which we're going to talk about in just a minute. But this is also not the only thing that you really shouldn't skip, because Island Tactics, this in particular, you need to push your equipment progression with the currency you'll be getting. The other event that we really don't want you to skip is in the expedition, and it's the military exercise. And this is how you're going to be getting your legendary skill scrolls. Now, if you want to see any of this stuff done live, I'm going to be live streaming my new account creation, and it's going to be a very whaled account. So I'm going to push on a lot of stuff. So I'll show all of this to you. But Prof, is there anything else we need to cover here for these new player events that people really should not skip?
I did just remember one that's important is the King Derek event that'll come out. And if you push that one really hard, you can actually get King Derek up to level 5 stars as well. He's also a very powerful hero. So it's not like the game is stingy. You can get really strong heroes for free if you go and do the effort to get them.
Yeah, this is a great call out. King Derek was a crucial role player in a number of the lineups that we came up with for top 3 lineups for new players. So the King Derek event, great call out. It will be a huge mistake to not push as much as you can. And I will be doing that, probably a bunch of that on stream as well. So subscribe so you don't miss out on that. No, it's not even the final mistake. Oh my gosh. The 7th mistake, the 7th major mistake is related to all these events, and it has to do with things you can exchange for. So if I go back to Island Tactics, for example, and I go to the store here, there's a lot of stuff in the different stores here, starting from merits all the way down to the Wonder Store, which that's more of an advanced thing we won't talk about in this video. But there are things that are really good to buy, high leverage in each of these shops, and there are things that are low leverage. And Professor came up with the high leverage, low leverage things, and I'll blast through them just really quickly. And Prof, you can chime in with more of your thoughts where you think it add value here. But we aligned on the merit shop, which you get from PvPing, basically battling other players. The best thing to get is speed ups, and the worst thing to get is resources. Huge mistake to be getting resources here. Gather your resources. And Prof was pointing out earlier that 50 Empire coins to refresh the shop and get a speed up is really great when the regular cost for, 2 hours of speed up or 1 hour of speed up is 250 Empire coins. So if you're already battling other players anyways, you got those merits accumulating, you may as well get some good speed ups there. And merits do not expire or go away. So you could take some time, but a bigger whale is going to be able to refresh this shop the maximum number of times, completely clear this thing out potentially every time. And it all depends on how much you battle other players. Now, this brings us to the items shop, and definitely do not be spending your Empire coins on resources. In terms of the items here, it's worth mentioning that for 8,000 Empire coins, you can buy these items over here. These are special skills on legendary heroes. I can show you where those actually are. And first of all, you don't even really need these. Okay, when I go to the skills and I go to the last 2 skills on a hero, which are customizable, you need those items. You can see those little icons in the bottom right here to unlock these more rare skills on your legendary hero. And when you go to unlock it, okay, you actually once a week get a bundle offer that's $5. So that is a way better deal than the 8,000 Empire coins from the item shop. So like if you're a whale, like, yeah, you can go into the store and you can buy a bunch of those, and you at some point perhaps will. Or if you have time to be patient with that, you're probably just better off buying the bundle if you're spending in the game than spending the 8,000 Empire coins.
So a big distinction, especially for like low spending players. If you spend 8,000 coins, that's a large chunk. Or you spend $5 and you get 8,000 worth of value and 2,500 more. It's a 10,000 coins of value for only $5. It is one of the highest value bundles that you can grab.
There it is, folks. All right. This brings us to the military exercise store. In here, it's good to focus on the legendary scrolls once you have those unlocked. You also, after that, could consider the research speeds or the training speeds, and it is always bad to be going for resources, especially from the military exercise shop.
Oh, one thing I'd like to just add quick to this. He raises up a good point there that initially these will be locked, but you can save up your coins or save up your whatever the resource is, I forget it the second here, until you eventually unlock it and then spend it there. So don't bother buying this stuff earlier on until you can eventually unlock those very, very valuable skill scrolls instead.
Yeah, that's a great call out. The military exercise coins, hoard them until you've actually unlocked that. That's a really good call. The arena shop, good thing to buy, hero tokens. They are available here, 5 per refresh. Bad thing to buy here is this sand. So this sand...
Oh boy, is it bad.
Yeah, you were explaining this to me, and I was like, oh my God. This is related to rings on your heroes, the silver sand, and also the fine gold and the copper sand. You said it takes 150 silver sand to do a single upgrade? So this is like just a really terrible
If you were to
pull.
take your ring, just a regular old epic ring, like say the ring of Nightwolf, you want to take it from level 1 to level 10. It's going to take you 150 or 1,000 arena silver. And if you were to try to do that with just this shop, it'll take you 4 months to collect enough sand to actually do that. That's just with the epic ones. Legendary ones are 300,000. It'll take you 8 months of spending every ounce of your reward into those legendary crystals. Or you can just go get 181 hammers and you're done. 181 is a lot. 8 months is astronomically insane how bad this deal is. Never get these, ever.
Got it. So we'll talk more about these currencies in other videos. The short version of the story for new players is get the hero tokens.
Never.
You'll be
always
really
hero tokens.
Yeah, you'll be really happy to have universal legendary hero medals. And once you get there, you will probably be sad if you pick the sand. Okay, this brings us to the final shop that a new player would see, which is Island Tactics. Island Tactics is where you're supposed to be pushing the power level of your equipment. Equipment is something you put onto your heroes after you level them up a bunch, and you unlock the blacksmith where you can actually craft your equipment. The blueprints are what you're looking for, and there are blueprints for your desired troop type, and that's really where it's at. That's the jam. There also are random blueprints and like legendary tier, and those are good to pick up as well. The thing you do not want to pick up from this shop is experience tomes, blue or purple crystals, which are also related to equipment upgrades, and also skill points are just like a bad take from this shop.
You can get them elsewhere. This isn't the best place to grab them.
There you go. So this brings us to the final mistake number 8, and this is the Rich Resource Node event. Now, you explained this to me, and it's so funny because normally I'd say, like, is this such a big mistake? But, like, when I did the global military exercise and on this account where I was just sort of playing around and seeing how the game worked, there is this event called Rich Resources. And every time I saw it, I was like, I see this picture, I look at this screen, I'm like, so what am I supposed to do? What am I doing?
Exactly. It's like,
and then I don't do anything.
What's this?
Yeah, I go, what's this? And then I'm done. I don't do anything with it. I got 100 other events I need to do. We already talked about how important they are. So I'm doing all that other stuff. But the way this event works, and it is a great way to get resources, is that when you go out into the world, there will be special resource nodes that are looking different. And amazingly, on screen here, you can see this level 3 gold mine, which is normal, next to the rich gold mine, which like obviously there's a diff in the way these look. And there is even a little glowy coming down on this thing, like a quest indicator, okay? So this rich resource node, not only you can see here, look at the amount that's in here. It is more than 3 times the amount of resources. And also the rate with which you gather is, I believe, much faster. It looks like it is actually, you can see my gold per hour in the hand arrow up icon on this thing. It's twice as much gold per hour if I gather from the rich node. Now, the thing that's weird about the rich nodes that the professor pointed out is like, yeah, so to find these things is a little bit of a pain unless you know this trick. And if you zoom out, you can see that the rich resource nodes stay on screen and all the other ones go away. So you can see that little indicator for the rich resource node. If you hit that right level of zoom, you can sort of cruise around the map. You cannot search for these with the search function. You have to manually find the rich resource nodes. For better or worse, that's the way that goes. So there is thankfully an easy way to do it. If you zoom out too much, you can zoom out pretty far and still see these suckers, right? But if you zoom out too much, and you can even scroll like I'm doing now and they show up, scroll too much and they disappear. So there is a correct level of zoom to find these things. And you can only be in one rich resource node at a time. So Professor and I were sort of spitballing a little bit on like, okay, so how do you maximize the gathering from that? And what you would do is you want 3 heroes, each level 25 or higher. You ideally want it to be the gathering heroes that have gathering skills, and you pick gathering talents. Like, for example, I think Leo is a gathering hero.
Leo would be one.
Yep. You can see this skill unlocks at hero level 25. That's what we were describing. And you could upgrade this skill a little bit. You wouldn't want to invest too much. You were saying, Professor, maybe take it to level 10. You don't want to use too many of your precious skill points on this, but you can increase your gathering speed a little bit like that. And also the talents on all your heroes matter, even for theoretically gathering as well. So if you had gathering talents on your heroes that you use for gathering, like, yeah, if your army gets hit while you're gathering, it's going to suck. But also, if you're trying to gather rich resource nodes really, really fast, go with 3x gathering heroes with some gathering talents.
Level 25 is a sweet spot for that. But there is just one more advanced one here that I'm going to go at. Generally, you want a couple of these units that can go out and gather while you're not doing something so that they're always busy. But if you take one unit and put extra focus into it and say, look at some of the legendary heroes like Cleopatra or Yi Sun Shin who have a gathering bonus and put some strength in there, you'll get twice as much effect for having one big unit than you will having multiple small ones. So when the rich resource event comes along, you have one big guy in there gathering extra amounts versus the ones that are not.
Got it. So if you have Cleo, who's got a ton of gathering speed, relatively speaking, you can switch these.
King David. There's a lot of the ones that you can get very easily that have that ability.
Yeah, and you can switch out their skills whenever you want, right?
Yeah, there's no cost to switch. So just go and gather with it and switch back to combat when you use them.
And there's no cooldown, right?
Nope. You can switch whenever you want.
No cooldown. So what you would do is when you level up a skill, you level up technically the skill slot. So if you had in this third skill some combat thing, if you took that slot to the sort of max level, which is I think 40, once you're ready to gather, you just go, okay, fine, just switch back to the gathering skill. And then you gather with it. And when you're ready to fight, you switch it back to the desired skill. Very, very cool. All right. That gives you 8 big mistakes to avoid for new players in Age of Empires Mobile. Big shout out to the professor who brainstormed with me on what these should be and a concise way to present them. If you want to check out the professor's channel, which I would encourage you to do for much more detailed guides and theory crafting and knowledge about the way the game works and proving it in the numbers, then you can check him out. Link will be in the description for his channel. Prof, anything you want to share before we bounce?
Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. I love my chance to get here and start sharing all this information with you guys.
Sick. Now, if you want to watch our last 2 collaborations, which were bangers, by the way, cards will be here and here. If you want to see the best starting civilization, that card is right over here. If you want to see the top 3 new player hero combos, watch the videos. And then when you're ready for more advanced stuff, hit the professor's channel. Till next time, you have fun smashing your enemies.